Good evening, everybody. I wanted to take a minute to talk about something that's really hot in the world of horror right now and just in general, and that is the It trailer that dropped last week, the week before. Um, I've always loved It. I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I think I watched the original miniseries on TV when it first came out when I was a kid. So I was probably 5 or 6. But I've always been a huge Stephen King fan, and I've always watched his miniseries on TV when I could. They've got mixed reviews, but for the most part, I really love them. And so, of course, I loved it, and I showed it at my slumber parties, and probably traumatized a lot of other little girls my age. But anyway, I tried to read the book when I was a young teenager, probably I'd say 12 or 13, and I didn't get all the way through it. And I don't remember why I quit reading it, but it was probably just too a little adult for me at the time. And so um, I just never finished it. So, I haven't thought much about it for a decade or more, I would say. And hearing about the remake, I haven't been very excited. I haven't really expected it to be good. I was really disappointed when I heard that the guy who did True Detective season one was also going to be directing it, and he dropped out because of creative differences. And I thought, well, that's not a good sign when somebody obviously talented leaves your project because they don't like the direction it's going creatively. That's not what you want to hear. So I've been avoiding a lot of the news and the images and things that have come out with it, and I even thought about not watching the trailer at all. Um, but I did. I couldn't resist, and I have to say, It made me cautiously optimistic. Well, I've been cautiously optimistic. It gave me some validated hope. The trailer did. Um, and after I watched it, I thought, okay, that was pretty good. And the scene with the projector and like the flipping images was done. I mean, very well and very subtle, and it's creepy and just good. And then I've just sat with it, and again, trying not to get too excited, but the more I've sat with it, the more I've really gotten excited about it. And I have to say that so many people from the beginning have been like, oh, you can't remake it. You have to have Tim Curry. Tim Curry is the only Pennywise. You can't remake this movie. It's classic. And I have to say, although I love the It miniseries, it by no stretch of the imagination is a masterpiece. And I think a lot of people are leaning on their nostalgia and the fact that it's, scared the living daylights out of them when they were a kid. And I would ask those people to go back and watch that movie now because I revisited it last night. I watched the first half, and part of me is just curious about how well is this going to hold up? Is it going to hold up at all? Is it not going to hold up? I don't think I've watched it as an adult. And I have to say, there's still some great moments in it, but a remake's not going to hurt this movie. I mean, even Tim Curry as Pennywise, he's fine, but there's nothing like earth shattering or that I feel too attached to. I don't watch that and think, oh, no other actor could do this. So I'm not sure why people are so committed to that. I think maybe it's just because we love our genre actors, and people love Tim Curry, and so I think they come to his defense when they maybe don't need to. Um, and also, I am listening to the audiobook, so I'm after the trailer, I got all excited again. So I'm listening to the audiobook so I can finish it. I'm watching the original miniseries. I'm doing my homework, so to speak, to get ready for the September release of the new It. And I'm very excited. I'm not going to lie. I'm very, very excited. And maybe I shouldn't be. I've tried to tell myself to not be, but it's too late. I'm already excited. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best. And I heard that they're doing two, and that the first one coming out in September is just part one. The trailer didn't say that, but I think that that is still the case. Again, I haven't done a lot of research on this movie, nor am I going to. I'm going to try to just go off of what's presented to me as it comes, and hopefully the full-length movie will be as good as the trailer. So we'll see how they bring some of those moments to life, because one of the biggest problems with, I think, the miniseries is even though they had all this time and they did two parts, it's just very shallow. Because listening to the audiobook and having the depth of the characters and the depth of the meaning and their motivation. Watching the miniseries, I feel like there's just so much that's missing. And so doing 2 full-length theatrical releases, I think some of that can really be delved into and some of that can be better communicated. Also, it struck me how the movie is a lot more violent. The bullying is a lot more violent. The domestic abuse is pretty hairy, and all of that is just completely whitewashed in the miniseries, and you don't get any of that. So the stakes aren't as high. It doesn't feel quite as serious as the book is, which, 90s TV, you can only do so much. So, anyway, in short, to conclude, I was cautiously optimistic, but the trailer has restored my faith, and I am now addicted to it again, and I'm sort of obsessed with it, and I'm doing all the homework and soaking up all the material, and I cannot wait to see what we have been given in the new version of it in September. So you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next time.